Hello, just need to start my video. Hello,
How are
how
you?
are you?
I'm doing okay. I had to take my glasses off too.
Good grief. Well, I had to put them on to find where my phone was, because I've still got my stuff in bags. We're just coming home from tour, so like it was a little scrambly, but I got it.
There you are, Eva Marie.
Yes, thank you
You.
so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. I'm excited to learn about you and to to kind of put this out there to people who might not be familiar with the band.
Yes.
So let's go. Eva Marie, vocalist for Eva Under Fire. Thanks again for having us into your day here.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's been a little crazy trying to get unpacked and then reorganize things, but it's super fun. We had such a great time on tour. So like thanks again for having me on the show.
Well, so let's talk about all this stuff. Eva Under Fire, we're playing the song Blow, which is blowing up, no pun
Yes.
intended. And, or maybe all pun intended, I don't know. But the song's great and people are reacting to it. Is it a surprise to you that people are so reactive?
I mean, I can't say it's a giant surprise, right? We wanted this to be something that could go crazy, right? So like we built it to be this thing, but we hadn't had the real world to give it the test run, right? So now that we're actually giving it the test run, your station's giving it the test run. Thank you so much. And people are really responding so well to it. So I knew people would love it. I honestly just didn't know that it would happen this much and this quickly, which is super exciting.
Yeah, that's got to be, it's like a rocket taking off, I bet.
Uh fine and finally, right? So like we've had the world has been weird. So releasing music has been a chore, right? So finally to have all of this stuff out and doing so well is just surreal.
Well, you had released an album previously years back, and so there's a full-length album out there. But since then, it seems like the focus has been singles and EPs. Am I correct in that?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Just sort of seeing where the stars aligned.
Yeah, and I guess I don't know if you're working towards a full length or if you're continuing along this path. I know Blow is still new and fresh and all that kind, and you guys are out on the road, but I mean, is that what you're looking to do? Is that the next step?
full full disclosure, full album is on the way. We wouldn't just put it out without the entire repertoire. So you'll be hearing more from us for sure. There's still plenty that is loaded, so to speak, and ready to go. So I will have an update on when the full record will be available shortly, but I'm gunning for the fall.
Well, tell me about because you said you had just gotten off the road, and who were you on the road with?
Nothing More
Oh
and a
yeah, that's
Tray and
right.
that was the
Yeah.
Nothing More Asking Alexandria tour, and
Right.
asking broke our hearts, and I know they were heartbroken themselves when they had to drop, but I did get several dates on there with Asking Alexandria, Nothing More, Atreyu, and Eva Under Fire as a full lineup, and it was killer.
Yeah,
And then
what a lineup.
we still managed to drag it across the finish line and still had a great time. So
So out of your repertoire, what are you playing? Are you playing stuff from the that first album? Is it all the new singles? What do you guys have in your,
yeah,
in your set?
so we definitely thank you for asking that, by the way, because it is a fun live show and it's an interesting world to try to put that all together, but we've got a lot of things on Spotify, so we're paying attention to what fans are listening to, and we definitely make sure that's in the set. We do have a fan favorite from our old school record, Anchors, that we do keep in there, so we do play Until Forever live, for those of you wondering. And it goes over great. But yeah, we are also beta testing lots of stuff from the new album that's not been released yet. So if you guys want to preview the new record, you need to come through and see us live.
Who is the primary songwriter for the band? Is that you lyrically, musically? Is it who does all that?
Yeah, the heavy lifting is mostly myself and the guitars, which is Chris and Rob are wonderful songwriters. They have a lot to do with the melody, but we all kind of fill in our own parts, honestly, and still jam. So all of us are, we grew up together playing music, and we still all live in the same area. So we kind of still get to do the cool, twice a week rehearsal, just jam session writing, kind of in that old school way. Um, till now. I mean, we've got to put together a rehearsal schedule now that we're home.
Well,
Um,
here's the big question to that is that you are, and a kind of a big reveal to some that don't know, you're a licensed outpatient psychotherapist, correct? Uh,
Correct.
okay, so how much of that, and I know there's at least a couple of songs, how much of that seeps into your songwriting, into your lyrics, into the sort of what the band is?
Yeah, I'd say quite a bit overlapping just the themes of mental health, but mostly what I tell people is that my lyricism is my own therapy. And so there's a lot of personal stuff that comes out in my music. But I also get meaningful connection with people in the therapy office. And so but that's the space for them, for my clients, right? So it's kind of nice to have both.
I know you wrote last month was Mental Health Awareness Month, correct? So I
Yeah.
know you wrote a piece online. What were some of the topics that you were discussing?
Yeah, I think Loudwire still has those columns up if you guys want to go check it out.
Mhm.
But it was wonderful. They had me as a guest columnist for the month. So we had like a weekly piece, and was one of them was grief. There was a piece on body image. There was a piece on addiction and recovery. And I forget right off the top of the head, but the other one might have just been tips on like what maybe you could talk to your friends about, or asking important questions.
But like you said, they're still up there, so anybody interested can go to Loudwire, correct?
Yeah,
Loudwire.com. Yeah. All
Loudwire,
right.
yeah.
Which is very cool. How do you balance doing both things? Because both seem like more than full-time kind of things. How do you do that?
You'd be correct, my friend. It's been a little bit of a crazy whirlwind, but it's wonderful to be able to have flexibility in my schedule to accommodate both. Um, I kind of don't do either full time all the time. So when there's a space where I am traveling, then I'm doing less. I have less availability as a clinician, and then when I'm home, I might reorganize myself a little bit and do more of the therapy work. But I'm also, now it's, as you mentioned, been presented to me as a brand new opportunity to kind of get more involved as a writer, and then maybe as a speaker too, eventually, is my
Wow.
hope. That's so that way, I'm staying consistent with clients, but I'm also able to use what I know in other ways, and sort of a advocate position, which is nice. It's funny. I was like, I want meaningful connection with other humans. How can I do that? Oh, music and therapy. And then the universe sort of laughed at me, and I got both, where I was anticipating having to choose. But it's been kind of a wonderful ride.
And did they come simultaneously like that? I mean, were you always pursuing both? Is that
Yeah,
what
just about like the same year that I graduated with my master's degree was the same year that we were offered a record contract.
Wow.
Yeah. It's
Well,
like,
something to fall back on, they always say, and I hope the fallback is the rock and roll, to be honest with you.
yeah, right. I mean, hey, it's been like I said, and then I started to put. I love rock and roll, and I love my rock community, because everybody in rock music is very. I mean, it's almost expected to have a level of raw, real authenticity in this particular genre. And so when I can come to the table honestly like that, it gives a lot of space to have those mental health kind of conversations, and to have fans that are fans of the music that speaks to them, and that they have related to. So there's a lot more crossover than I thought there would be, and where I've previously thought, well, maybe there will be some ethical conflict. I really haven't seen that at all. I've seen so much more of a really cool marriage between those worlds, and some new cool opportunities I hadn't expected. So it's been really cool to see it
Very
kind of work
eye-opening,
itself
huh?
out. Yeah.
Band is out of Detroit, and there's such a rich history of Detroit bands going back decades and stuff. And it's got to be an honor to come out of Detroit Rock City. What was it like coming up out of that, or still, I suppose, still coming out? Because there's so many great artists out of there. Is there big competition? Do you feel that?
Absolutely. I think that there is always at the especially before, in the bar scenes and things like that, right? You get certain areas that have a real camaraderie, and then there's other areas where it is very, competition driven. And I felt that for a lot of our, especially the younger years in our band. And we've been together about 6 years now. But even just in previous projects and stuff, there was always like this heavy pressure. But I am starting to see, even now getting into a more, the touring world and more of the professional space is being open to us now. I love seeing the camaraderie that exists on the other side of that. I feel like the bar gig scene was more ruthless than even now playing in these theaters when everybody's like friends. And I'm like, this is real. Even just on this previous tour, there was green room doors were open. There was so much, like, there was just such a welcoming atmosphere. I love it.
So have you traveled overseas? Have you been out of the country? Has it been the States only? Where have you
The
been?
States only for us, unless we look at Shipwrecked, which was the cool thing that we got to do last
Right.
year. Shipwrecked. So technically
Those are
that's out
fun.
of the country. We just haven't been to the UK yet.
What's your favorite place to play so far?
Man,
What's been your favorite?
Texas is a great rock and
Oh
roll like
yeah.
state. We have so many different cool memories, even from when we were just traveling, doing our own like DIY tours in the bar scenes. Texas would show up. But I'll tell you what, the last show we played with Nothing More, and those guys are from Texas, so it was real lit. Was Houston, and Houston showed up.
Wow.
Man, that last show was something to see. It was so cool.
Well, Texas is almost its own country. It's so huge. You can just tour there for months and just keep going back and forth everywhere. It takes a few days just to cross it alone. So I can imagine it's pretty fun. And you got, like South by Southwest stuff in Austin and the rich history of music there. So cool. Yeah, it's been great kind of learning about you guys. You guys sort of came onto my radar with the single, and then all of a sudden I'm like, okay, who are these guys? What's going on? What is the deal? And one of the things that struck me was the name Eva Under Fire. Before I knew that you're Eva Marie, I was
Yeah.
like, okay, is there somebody named Eva? Is there not? Because I only know a couple of bands like Breaking Benjamin and what's the other one? Jimmy Eat World, that use the name of one of the members in their band name. What was the decision to do that?
I mean, being a female fronted band is something I feel like I got like a badge of honor almost, that there's this, and then now I see this new, like, kind of uprising, which is super fun to see so many more women in rock music
Yeah.
specifically. And when I first started, that it wasn't the case. I mean, probably circa 2004, when Evanescence did the Fallen record, was the first time where I felt I had an example of a woman vocalist who was doing something that I just couldn't put down, that I loved, that was modern rock, because I always felt like, obviously I was so encouraged by Pat Benatar and all those women, but they felt like my parents' generation. You know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah,
Amy Lee,
sure.
my first that I felt like was mine. But I wanted something powerful and with a woman's name to the brand. I felt like that was a really kind of a fierce move, and it caught on, and Under Fire referencing sort of like it is almost under scrutiny, all the time to be a woman in this industry. Um,
Well,
and yet
just face it, in the
here we
world.
are.
I mean,
Yeah,
not just the industry. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I feel like that's a powerful, pretty accurate statement. So thank you for that. But yeah, especially doing what we do, I felt like that was a cool name. And the guys totally were helping and supportive, and was like, okay, we want a fierce, strong, female branded band name. What can we do with that? And so they took my name, and then we took the Under Fire as sort of a token to what we feel like we are out here.
And you do mention that there's we're kind of coming into an era where there are a lot more female fronted or even just all female bands, which I think is long overdue. And it really is kind of a boys club when you get out there. Have you had any rough experiences in that regard?
In earlier years, for sure. I feel like, as I mentioned before, in the bar gig scenes and stuff, there was a lot more of that like boys club mentality. But I feel like once you're into the professional world of touring and things like that, the gate is much more open already. I mean, at that point, you've kind of come through your proving grounds a little bit, and people are much more supportive. I feel like I've definitely seen, even especially on this last tour that we were on, I noticed we took a tour photo at the end of during their set in the Houston show. And it was a cast and crew photo for the tour. And I was the only female in it, which was
Wow.
interesting to me, being the only woman in a tour that size. And I was like, this is still real. This is still happening. Like, it was kind of eye-opening to me, that this is still like so, we have so much more work to do to be represented out here. But I feel like there's more than there has been. Absolutely. More representation of women in rock music specifically. Plush, The Warning, all these new up and comers too, that people are loving. And I also love, by the way.
No, I agree 100%. So you mentioned you just got back. What's the plan from here? What are you going to be doing here? So
Lots and lots of things to gear up for these radio campaigns. As you stated, you guys are wonderful playing our stuff. It's going really well, so we're kind of tracking that. We're going to be planning, I think, the full record release. So probably more details on that soon. And then we've got some festivals, some really cool festivals for festival season. We're playing Aftershock this year. We're playing Louder Than Life this year. So we're keeping it moving. And we've got some really cool things in the works for maybe an additional tour coming up late summer, early fall.
Very cool. All right. Yeah, stay cool this summer. That's for sure. It's going to be a hot one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm putting up my pool like right now. Oh, you guys are in there. Yeah, you guys in Phoenix are way different story. Woo.
Oh man,
we came through Phoenix and I was like, is it always this hot here? You were like,
yes.
yeah.
Yes, it is. All right, Eva Under Fire, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I hope we get to do it again. Thanks for spending some time and letting us come into your day, and we'll continue to play that song Blow. Website for you guys, where can people find you?
Yeah, evaunderfire.com is, we also have all of our links to socials on the website. And so we're on Instagram. And if you want to come to my TikTok shenanigans, I'm there too. Facebook
Awesome.
and all the things. But yeah, evaunderfire.com. We'll keep you updated.
Okay, excellent. Again, thank you very much, and we'll chat soon.
Yeah, thank you. See you guys when we come through. We'll see you next time.
Take care. See ya.
All right.